By the winter of 1914, something unexpected happened. The war stopped moving. After months of marching, charging, and clashing, both sides reached exhaustion. Soldiers began to dig not to attack, but to survive. What started as shallow holes quickly became endless trench systems stretching hundreds of kilometers across Europe. These trenches were not safe havens. They were prisons carved into the earth. Mud filled everything: boots, weapons, clothes, even food. Rainwater collected at the bottom, soaking soldiers for days without relief. Many developed trench foot, a condition so severe it could rot flesh and require amputation. Rats thrived in the trenches. They fed on scraps and on bodies. Lice spread disease. Sleep was rare. Fear was constant. Soldiers lived shoulder to shoulder with death. Just meters away was no man's land, a nightmare of barbed wire, shell craters, and corpses frozen where they fell. An attackman climbing out of the trench and walking straight into gunfire. Most never made it halfway. The trenches transformed warfare into a test of endurance rather than bravery. Victory no longer depended on heroism. It depended on survival. As the trenches locked armies in place, generals turned to technology to break the stalemate. What followed was a revolution in killing. The machine gun became the most feared weapon on the battlefield. One gun could replace dozens of soldiers. Entire attacks were destroyed in seconds. Soldiers advanced in waves because that was the old way of war. But the battlefield had changed. Artillery soon became even deadlier. Massive cannons fired shells day and night. Explosions tore the land apart, reshaping hills, forests, and villages. Many soldiers never saw the enemy. They were killed by shells they never heard coming. Others were buried alive when trenches collapsed. The ground itself became a weapon. Commanders measured success not in territory but in casualties. Thousands died for gains measured in meters. World War I became the first truly industrial war. Factories far from the front determined life and death. War was no longer fought by soldiers alone. It was powered by machines, steel, and endless production. Then, in 1915, a new horror appeared: poison gas. It arrived without warning, drifting slowly across the battlefield. At first, soldiers didn't understand what they were seeing. Then they started choking. Chlorine gas burned lungs from the inside. Mustard gas blinded eyes and blistered skin. Panic spread faster than the gas itself. Soldiers ran, screamed, and tore at their own throats. Gas masks became mandatory, but they were unreliable and terrifying to wear. Even with protection, fear never disappeared. Gas attacks turned the air itself into a weapon. There was nowhere to hide. World War I crossed a moral line. The goal was no longer just to defeat the enemy, it was to break the human body and mind. Survivors carried scars long after the war ended, visible and invisible. By the end of the conflict, millions were dead, empires collapsed, and the world understood something terrible. War had changed forever. There would be no going back. World War I was not just a war of nations, it was a warning. A warning of what happens when technology outpaces humanity. And the world was listening. Too late. War does not end when the guns fall silent. It lives on in memories, in scars, and in the world it reshapes. In the next episode, the war will spread beyond the trenches, into cities, factories, and the lives of millions who never held a weapon. This is History Archive, because the past still matters.